Good morning from Jerusalem. This is Amir Tsarfati, and I just wanted to give you a short update on the events of the last few hours. As you probably have heard, shortly after midnight, the special forces of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard um, uh, launched a strike of 20 rockets towards Israeli military targets. Um, I see that people are asking me to wait for a few seconds so I can give a full report to as many as possible. So I'll be waiting for a few more seconds. And behind me, as you can see, the morning is here in Jerusalem. It's not even 6 a.m. The sun is about to rise right behind the walls of the old city. And let me see. I'll start in just a few seconds. And maybe I can change positions for you to get to see a little bit more of Jerusalem. There you go. All right. So again, good morning, shalom everyone. This is Amir Tsarfati. It's not even 6 a.m. here in Israel right now. And just to give you a quick update on the events of this past night. 10 past midnight, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is using his special forces called Al-Quds, Jerusalem in Arabic. And they're launching a strike of over 20 rockets towards the Israeli front outpost on the Golan Heights. For the people who have been with me to Israel, when we were standing always on top of Mount Bental looking at Syria, then you need to understand there's quite a few Israeli military outposts further towards the border. This whole area is not an area where there's any civilians. It's just pure military area. The rockets were fired not only at the Israeli outpost in the valley, but also on Mount Hermon. There is an Israeli reconnaissance military outpost, and the idea was of the Iranians is to somehow destroy that electronic equipment. Probably 80 to 90% of their rockets were shut down by the Iron Dome, and what happened is that there is a minor damage to some of the outposts. No casualties were reported. We were ready for such a thing. However, since they did that, although we warned them not to, Israel, 2 hours later, started an unprecedented airstrike that is still going on as we speak right now. I cannot tell you right now the extent of that strike because, let's put it this way, it's above and beyond anything the Syrians or the Iranians could have imagined. Israel is destroying, as we speak, not only Iranian targets, but we are holding Syria responsible, as Syria is allowing the Iranian entrenchment, and we are destroying, as we speak, any known serious Syrian military presence in the area. Israel is striking right now the 4th division of the Syrian army. Israel had struck every known possible Iranian target. I can tell you one thing, the Iranians are counting their dead right now by the dozens, and I'm not going to be surprised if by the end of the day you're going to hear much bigger numbers than that. In fact, the Israeli military is not releasing information as of the extent because it is still going on. We are striking airfields, air bases, silos of weapons, rocket launchers, and radar stations and air defense systems. Israel is in the middle of the most comprehensive and certainly unprecedented strike on Syria as we speak. And this comes hours after Prime Minister Netanyahu made it very clear to the Russians in Moscow that Israel is going to do whatever Israel needs to do in order to take care of business and defend itself. We warned the whole world, and we warned the Syrians, the Iranians, the Hezbollah, and we warned the international community that if Israel is going to be attacked, Israel is going to respond in a way that they will think twice before they do it again. The instructions for the Israeli public is business as usual. Schools are going to be open this morning. People can go to work. There is no disruption of civilian life in Israel. Again, the only thing that was attacked by the Iranians was a line of military outposts that is right on the border with Syria on the Golan Heights and on Mount Hermon. I don't remember a strike like this before, and I don't remember a strike that the Israeli military spokesman is announcing that we are indeed carrying, and I don't remember a strike that takes that long. Israel had plans, every country has some sort of plan A and plan B in case something happened. We are using everything we can right now to teach the Syrians and the Iranians and their proxies a lesson not to deal with us anymore. Again, for the sake of those of you, there's a lot of new people that just joined us right now. For the sake of those of you who just joined us, 10 minutes past midnight, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, a special force called the Al-Quds Force, headed by General Soleimani, launched a barrage of more than 20 rockets towards Israeli military outposts. These are smaller outposts along the border with Syria. Minor damage is reported to some of the Israeli installations. No casualties were reported. 2 hours later, Israel began an unprecedented wave of airstrikes that caused enormous damage to the Iranian presence in Syria and to the Syrian military. We are destroying, as we speak right now, the 4th Division of the Syrian army. We are completely eliminating every known Iranian storage of rockets and ammunition. We are hitting radar targets as we speak. We are damaging air defense systems as we speak, and it is not even over yet. The full extent of the Israeli strike will be known only hours, maybe even more than a day from now, because we believe that it is going to be very embarrassing, both to the Iranians and the Syrians. So, one last thing is part of the Syrian attempt to hit the Israeli aircrafts. They were shooting some rockets that triggered Israeli air defense systems, and that is why in some Israeli towns in northern Israel, such as Kiryat Shmona, air raid sirens were heard, not because rockets hit northern Israel, but it's because the surface-to-air missiles of the air defense system of Syria caused some of those missiles, some of their rockets to fly towards Israel. And Patriot missiles that we launched shut them down, of course. and that triggered some of those sirens in northern Israel. Again, 10 past midnight, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard launched a strike or a barrage of 20, a bit over 20 missiles towards Israeli military targets along the Golan Heights. No casualties, minor damage. 2 hours later, Israel began what is, by the way, what is being reported in the Arab media as an unprecedented airstrike that is still going on as we speak right now. We're talking about air bases, military bases, we're talking about weapon caches, we're talking about storage, we're talking about radar systems, we're talking about air defense systems, and Iranian targets are being obliterated and erased from the surface right now as we speak. Of course, there's many more over there, but Israel is very, very determined to use their attack as a way for us to justify that which we want, and this is of course to uproot the Iranian presence in Syria. Yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu made it very clear to President Vladimir Putin that 73 years after the end of World War II, where the Jewish people were almost completely annihilated by enemies who wanted to kill us and destroy us just because we're Jews, we have in modern days new Nazis, different version of those, and these are the Iranians who are publicly calling for the annihilation of Israel. And Netanyahu said it very clear to the Syrian president: we are going to do whatever it takes to defend ourselves. A lot of people were asking me, Amir, why is it that that Netanyahu went to President Putin? First of all, he was invited by President Putin. Second of all, as of now, you need to understand, us hitting Iranian targets in Syria, serves the Russian interest. Why? The Russian interest is that the Bashar al-Assad regime will stay, and the Iranian shenanigans is causing it is destabilizing the whole region right now. The Russians don't want war right now. They prefer to get oil and gas and not count their deads. And so for the time being, at this moment, Russia prefers that Iran will not do what Iran is doing. And so when Israel is striking, the Russians in Syria are doing nothing. The Russians in Syria are in a way turning blind eye, allowing Israeli warplanes to do what we need to do without hitting them. It has to be very, very clear. If the Russians wanted, they could have launched their own strike against Israeli aircrafts, and that wouldn't be good. This is one of the reasons Benjamin Netanyahu sees a very high importance to go and talk to Putin, because at the moment there is a heavy Russian military presence in Syria, and unless we coordinate or at least get their approval or their silence, we wouldn't be able to operate the way we do in Syria. So at the moment, right now, as we speak, Israel is launching again an unprecedented strike in Syria on Iranian targets and Syrian military targets. The full extent of the Israeli strike is not revealed at this point, and I believe that when the spokeswoman of the White House, Sarah Huckabee, came on camera and said that Israel has the right to defend itself, this was a very important thing for us to hear, because once the damage is going to be revealed, the damage in Syria, then people needs to understand America backs us up. It's interesting because Governor Huckabee is right here in Israel. In fact, in the same hotel where I'm staying right now, while his daughter was giving that press briefing just about 3 hours ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're in the middle of an unprecedented Israeli strike in Syria. I reported that the day before yesterday. It's yesterday for the Americans. I did report that Israel will not allow anything to come from Syria and hit Israel, and we are not only holding the Iranians but also the Syrians are responsible for that. Now, I believe that the Russians do not want us to remove Assad at the moment, and I believe that what we are doing right now is striking mostly the Iranian presence in Syria. But the 4th Division of the Syrian army is getting hit right now pretty hard, and more radar stations and air defense systems are being completely taken out of order as we speak. So it was a very minor strike of the Iranians on Israeli military targets. It is a very large and unprecedented Israeli response to that. Some people might say it's disproportional. Well, that's life. If you strike something against our country, do not expect a proportional response. Expect to get hit and get hit hard. And that is exactly what we're trying to teach our enemy right now. Do not mess with us. We're not going to, if you kill one, we're going to kill one. If you kill two, we're going to kill two. If you strike this one and there's no casualties, then we're going to strike something like an empty building without casualties. No, it's not going to be like that. The rules of the game are this. Don't think about striking us, because we will strike much harder, way harder, and it's not going to be nice. So, this is the report. The reason why I didn't report earlier is because there was so much information that I gathered, and there was so much disinformation that was coming from the Arab side, and there was quite a disturbing silence also from the Israeli military, because, and I understand they're in the middle of doing stuff. So I waited until I have all the information, and now you have it. A little bit more than 20 rockets were fired at Israeli military bases in northern Golan Heights close after midnight, and that's about 6 hours ago. 2 hours later, Israel began something that will be probably talked about in the next few weeks. It is still going on, unprecedented airstrike. The citizens of Damascus are saying that the skies are illuminated with fire. We are still working very hard, but daylight is not the best time to strike. So I believe that now, when the sun is coming out, maybe I'll let you see that. The sun is coming out, as you can see, right above Jerusalem. Now when the sun is rising, it's not a good time to continue airstrikes. I believe that our airplanes are getting back to their bases, and if there is something that will be worth reporting, I will come and report that. If not, I will continue writing on Facebook some of the updates. I can't be on camera all day long. I do have work, But again, this is the report of the events of the last few hours. Iranian strike that was very minor, with no casualties and minor damage to Israeli outposts. Unprecedented Israeli airstrike, which for the first time we even say that we are doing that. The Israeli military spokesman, IDF spokesman, is telling the Arabs in Arabic, Israel is launching right now a strike in Syria do not think of shooting at our aircrafts, because you will be out. So not only that we are attacking, but we are admitting that, we are saying that clear and loud. We are in your skies, and we are destroying anything that might pose an imminent threat on our country. That's what we're doing. Thank you. God bless you. We're extremely calm. We're extremely relaxed. The Israelis were instructed to go to work, go to school, full routine. Nothing is going to abrupt or disrupt or stop our daily routine here. As I said before, for those of you who think that a war is coming and Jeremiah 49 is being fulfilled, it's not going to be a war. A war is not going to be with Iran, period. If there will be a war, and there will be a war, it is going to be much bigger and much different, where Iran might be part of, but not be the prime participant. So I'm going to teach tonight on camera, live, on the topic of will there be peace in the Middle East. And I invite you to join us. It's 9 p.m. Israel time. It is 11 a.m. Pacific time in America. And if you can, please join us. I will be talking about recent events, and I will definitely talk about what the Bible says regarding the peace in the Middle East. Can there be peace? Will there be peace? If so, when, how, and for how long? We're going to have to put it all together. In the meantime, I'll give you a few more minutes to enjoy the view of Jerusalem's walls as the sun is rising, and then we're going to say goodbye. And have a wonderful night if you're in America. Have a wonderful day if you're elsewhere. God bless you. Watch Jerusalem for a few seconds.